So what do I want to pay?
$9.99.
Now, that's not an editable field. That's what's returned. And again, this is because their server is not validating the price when it comes back. So again, now I can't guarantee that if you go ahead and buy this that you'll get it at that price because they may find it later on. But the point is the website is vulnerable to that. And again, like I said, this has already been demonstrated. I'm not taking credit for finding this website and the vulnerability, but pretty powerful stuff. What is it? What's
all the way in the right.
Sorry, I can't see very well.
Right there.
Thanks. We got 25 minutes,
Yeah.
so we're doing good.
Okay. I mentioned a tool called Passive Recon, and I'm going to show you a little bit about it here. Essentially what it'll do is it automates a lot of things. There's a lot of areas that it gives you. DNS queries. It'll actually do trace routes for you. It'll use some of the Google scripts that we talked about that'll search for text files, PPT, PDF, Excel spreadsheets, and et cetera. And it's got it all nicely laid out and everything. So we're going to do a little demo here, but to give you a heads up, this is the site. We chose somebody at random. This happens to be the RIAA. And so go down the bottom, and then all the way down the bottom where it says Scan All. Whoops. Next one. There you go. Hit Scan All. Notice as this thing is going to open 22 tabs across the top of the page here. So each one of those commands that you saw a second ago are all being enumerated there. If you want to go in, there's Domain Tools. Gives you information about the domain, who it's registered to, how long it's been there. This is Whois. Gives you the registrar information associated with the IP address. Looks like the network timeout. That must be the email servers. Domain exchange servers, you want to know what their email addresses are. There's a DNS tool in here that give you A records, NS records, MX records, so you can kind of look at things like they may be having someone host their websites for them, but you look at the A records, different IP address, may give you an idea that you may not want to attack the websites and may want to look at their host sites that are registered them and not to some service provider. Netcraft, this is a great tool when you use Netcraft. There's a lot of information it gives you here, but like I say, once you click on that one button and tell it to run all those tests, it will open 22 different tabs. It'll tell you, go to the one for the Google one. It's about some documents and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Probably got to go farther to the right, Mike. Next.
This, it also does Google searches for documents,
PDF files.
PDF files, Excel files that are on the website that are available, so you might find something interesting.
And it'll give you links. It'll tell you what sites are linked on this site and what sites link to it. Quite a few of them there. So, you know, it's a fun thing to play around with. Even if you're not doing a pen test and you just want to know a lot about some organization, you know, .gov, .mil or stuff, it's interesting to see what information is really available from them on the web.
We're back on the slides.
Okay. And like I say, if you look down there, there's the list of them, and the one all the way on the bottom there where it says Scan All. So, you know, if you're looking for something specific, you can click on the individual ones, or if you're just in a, you know, information overload junkie like I am, you click on Scan All and then sit there and go through that for about half an hour or so. Here's a close look up of 2600.orgs. And this is what's registered on for them for the DNS. Interesting to note, two different IP address ranges there. Another slide is, here's their DNS information. Want to know what their mail servers and MX records, where they're at. Again, you'll notice the NS servers in two different places, so that means if one goes down, they got the other. And then want to look at some files. Here's the link. These are sites that 2600.org links to. So you can kind of tell what they're affiliated with, who they may be doing business with, and some other information like that going through that. And then want to know how long they've had the address. And one thing I haven't been able to figure out, if you look down there around 2000 and the Department of Treasury or Justice, is it on 2600.org? Not sure how that got there, but that's the results I got when I went to the site. So you pick up some interesting stuff. And it just gives you a lot of information that's very, very useful because, as Sung Soo said, know thy enemy. So if you're doing a pen test against something, the best thing you can do is get very, very knowledgeable about the company, the business, or whatever your target is that you've been hired to legally do a pen test of, so that you can better do it.
Let me go back to this slide. Don't underestimate the power of information. Here's a good example, and not specifically on this slide. Netcraft, what's this site running? Okay, so you see that your target is running IIS whatever. And Netcraft also has uptime reports. Well, what if Microsoft released a patch to a critical IIS vulnerability on Tuesday, and your target, which required a reboot, and your target hasn't been rebooted in a month? How powerful is that to you? That vulnerability is now yours. I mean, pretty powerful information out there. So don't discount the power of passive information.
Or none.
Is that the right one? These are a couple other add-ons that we think are nice. We don't really have time to talk about them. Add and edit cookies. It's pretty self-explanatory by its title. Firebug is a really cool tool for editing things on the fly, editing the CSS or editing the HTML or the JavaScript. Hackbar does a lot of cool things. You can obfuscate. That's a cool word, isn't it? Obfuscate. You can say you have an SQL injection, but you think you might be able to bypass their IDS by obfuscating the URL that you're typing in. This will do it for you. How cool is that? And then Web Developer is a really cool tool, not just for pen testers, but for web developers in general. So now we're moving on to using Firefox as a front end. So using Firefox as kind of the interface for some other tool. Well, we already talked about Tor. One of the first extensions out there for Tor was Tor button. Pretty much everyone's here at a Tor button. It's pretty cool. I mean, click on it and it automatically changes your proxy settings for Tor. Well, what if you like to use other tools? Paros Proxy is one of my favorite tools. And then there's other ones, Burp Proxy, Spike Proxy. Well, you can use an extension called Switch Proxy, which will allow you to do multiple extensions. So you can put Tor, Paros, Spike, whatever. So literally, click the button thing, and you're done. You can also use Firefox as a front end for other tools. A Metasploit. A lot of people, if you know Metasploit, you're probably a command line guy. But you could do it via the command or via web front end. There's a tool that's specific to backtrack called Fast Track. Fast Track's a really cool tool, and I'll show you an example of what that looks like. InProtect has an extension that's a web interface for Nessus and Nmap. Now, those tools have to be installed on your system, but that's kind of cool to be able to do it from a browser. And then if you're using Snort, and Base, you can do